And now the second session of the day. Anna van Praag, Chief Content Officer at the Evening Standard, is in conversation with the authors of Your Time to Thrive, Arianna Huffington and Marina, Khidekel.
I'm Anna van Praag, the Chief Content Officer for the Evening Standard, and I'm speaking to Arianna Huffington, the founder and CEO of Thrive Global, a leading behavior change tech company, and Marina, Khidekel, Thrive Global's Head of Content Development. Firstly, so lovely to speak to you today, and huge congratulations on your book, Your Time to Thrive, which I greatly enjoyed. Obviously, this has been an extraordinary year. And in our latest Evening Standard reader poll, we found that 25% of people say their physical health has deteriorated during the last year, and 27% say they don't know how to improve their health and well-being. Is this something you recognize from when you were researching the book?
Absolutely. We recognize it from all the companies we're working with, as well as all the surveys like the one you did. And the reason we're excited to launch this book is because it helps people take small, daily, incremental steps, our micro steps, wherever they find themselves. Think of these micro steps as the opposite of big New Year resolutions that seem overwhelming and are normally abandoned after 2 or 3 weeks. We call our micro steps too small to fail. In every area of life, whether it's sleep, food, movement, gratitude, family, any area of our lives, beginning with these too small to fail micro steps can dramatically change habits and outcomes.
Yes. I love everything you say about micro steps and your descriptions in the book. What micro steps have you both incorporated into your life that our readers struggling with burnout or stress might find valuable?
So I can start, and Arianna, I know you have lots of micro steps that you love. So this book, it's a really great time for it. We actually started writing it before the pandemic hit, but it's become even more resonant now when people are so overwhelmed, and the idea of a huge life overhaul just feels ridiculous. So these tiny science-backed steps that we can start taking can actually help us immediately start to feel better and then build on these habits. So one micro step that actually really affected my life is I used to start the day, which, in a way that most of us do, rolling over in bed and checking my phone first thing before even getting out of bed. And I started feeling a palpable anxiety spike. I knew that it was bad. I knew I shouldn't do it. So I challenged myself to the micro step of taking 1 minute after I woke up without checking my phone. So I would take some deep breaths or set an intention or even take a shower before I opened my phone. And that actually really helped decrease my anxiety. And then I started realizing why. And it was because when we start the day looking at our phone, we start by focusing what other people want from us, what's going on in the world, the stressful news headlines, what our boss wants, what our friends want with our texts, our emails, our social media, and what motivates other people, rather than setting our own intention for the day. So this tiny step of just taking 1 minute, really tiny, without checking my phone, actually really helped start my day off on a better foot, and it helped my whole day, my interactions with people, the way that I felt, going into work, starting my work day, really helped.
That's very interesting. And Arianna, can you share any micro steps that you've taken that have changed the way you tackle stress and burnout?
Yes, mine, Anna, is at the other end of the day. I like to declare an end to my working day. And I say declare an end to my working day because, as you know, we don't really have ends to our working days. I mean, we can stay up all night texting, emailing, and handling things. So my micro step is declaring an end to my day by turning off my phone. The phone is really the repository of every project and every problem. And if we are going to have a transition to sleep, which is key, especially during these times when people are having so many problems getting the sleep they need or wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep. I think it's imperative that we have a transition. I know, Anna, you have 2 little children. So I'm sure I was reading about them on your social. They look quite adorable.
Thank you.
You don't just drop them in bed, right? You have a transition for them. You give them a bath, you sing them a lullaby, you read them Good Night Moon or whatever they're reading these days. But we don't have a transition to sleep. So we may be physically exhausted, but we don't give our brains the chance to slow down. So they wake us up in the middle of the night and they can't, and it's harder to go back to sleep. So for me, by having this micro step of declaring an end to my day and turning off my phone, makes it much easier to get a good night's sleep. I mean, I also have a full transition of having a bath and reading a real book and things like that, but it all starts with this micro step.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Arianna. The mission of Thrive Global, as I understand it, is to end the stress and burnout epidemic and unlock human potential. Can you tell me a little bit about Thrive Global and how it works?
Great. Marina, you want to take it since we're going back and forth?
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, we, even before the pandemic, were in the midst of a mental health crisis. And a lot of people are struggling to find that balance between their personal lives and their work lives. So we help companies and individuals take small steps. Again, this book is full of those small steps called microsteps and all the realms of their lives that truly matter to their well-being. And there's heaps of research now linking our personal well-being and emotional well-being with our work success and our creativity and our productivity. We can no longer ignore that. I think, people think, companies are successful because they grind their employees and they work around the clock, but it's actually the opposite. And that's what Thrive Global speaks to, this connection between taking care of our personal well-being, including, sleep, connection, food, movement, all those things, and including, meaning and purpose. We talk a lot about meaning and purpose. There's a lot of ancient wisdom woven throughout this book, and we talk a lot about ancient wisdom for modern times that we've sort of forgotten but need to tap into again. So that's sort of in a nutshell what Thrive helps people do, sort of realize the link between your well-being and your professional success.
Yeah, it seems like it's long overdue. I know that you're a big advocate of sleep, meditation, and exercise to enhance well-being. Are these your core pillars for positive change for mental health at Thrive?
So our core pillars, which are in our app, we have an app that is divided into 4 pillars. The first is recharge, which is sleep and 60-second resets during the day to prevent stress from becoming cumulative. That's core to our understanding of how to lead a healthy and productive life. Because while stress is unavoidable, cumulative stress is avoidable with the 60-second breathing or stretching or gratitude breaks. The second pillar is fuel, which is about what we eat and how much we move. The third is focus, helping us establish some boundaries with all our distractions, especially digital distractions, our phones, social media, etc. And the fourth is connection. How do we stay connected with ourselves, our loved ones, our colleagues? So these are the 4 pillars. And Anna, we find it very important that we bring all that together. And that's what we are doing in the book too. Because a lot of behavioral recommendations are point solutions, like it's about meditation or about sleep or about steps. And the truth is that we need to bring everything together in order to change outcomes.
Yes, and I think the book explains that brilliantly. Which in some ways, screens, and I know you've touched on this before, but Zoom, Slack, phones, social media, it seems like sometimes the advancement of tech is very damaging to our mental health. How do you recommend that people engage in the modern world but don't become slaves to technology and let it completely disturb their mind?
Sure. I mean, we at Thrive are not anti-tech at all. We are for tech, but we are for using tech intentionally. And when we don't think about it, and it uses us rather than us using it. So this is sort of going back to certain points that we've already talked about a little bit of like knowing I'm not going to use my phone the first thing I do when I wake up. I'm going to put my phone away half an hour before I go to bed. It's sort of that mindful approach to using technology that can really help us intentionally use it rather than letting it take us over, because it's so easy to, as Arianna said, our phones are the repositories of everything stressful, everything good also, a lot of good things in our life. So it really is about that mindful boundaries and knowing your own boundaries with technology and saying, I'm declaring an end to my day. I'm shutting down my laptop. That actual physical act of shutting your laptop to declare the end to your day, it can be a really great micro step to signal to your brain, like, I'm done. This is my boundary. Now my life starts. So it's really about the mindful use of it.
And obviously, I know it's the same in the US. There's been some terrifying statistics about how badly women have been affected in the pandemic, so suffering from burnout, not being able to manage children and their jobs and their relationships. How do you think we can address this? Is this something Thrive? I know you've got a bit of some family elements on the app, I believe.
We have a lot of deep dives in the app, courses. We have a 90-minute course called Working Families, which is truly amazing because it helps women who are working mothers especially be able to create a system of dividing the chores and the responsibilities at home. Because one of the problems is that women have tended to wing it. And men maybe are helping them, but we don't want help. We want ownership of projects. The way it's done at work, you want people you work with, Anna, at work to own certain things. So we literally have digital cards that couples can divvy up. So let's say, I don't know, you and your partner can divvy up, I own lunch. I own the birthday party. That means we call it from conception to execution to completion.
Yes, that's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? As opposed to what happens now. Dear, can I help you with lunch? No. Just, are you owning lunch? Or because the problem with women, in all our conversations with them, is it's the problem of the mental load. Even if you are not actually doing it all yourself, you are responsible for it.
Yes, that's an excellent point. And I think we'll make a small step that could make a great improvement. Another thing that you talk about in your book, which I thought was fascinating, is habit stacking. Could you tell us a little bit about this? Because I think our listeners would find it so valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. So neuroscientists actually talk about one of the best ways to create a new habit is to stack it onto something that you already do. So it becomes sort of, a no-brainer that you're going to do it. So one example we talk about is, we brush our teeth at night. So every night when you're brushing your teeth, think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Gratitude is incredibly powerful for our mental health, our well-being, our sense of purpose, our sense of connection. So it's an easy little thing to do. Think of 3 things. Everyone can think of 3 different things to do, 3 different things that they're grateful for. It doesn't have to be the huge things every day, like your health. It could be, I saw a cute puppy today and it made me smile. Like these are things you can do every single day. Stack it on top of a habit that's, ingrained in your daily to-dos. And there you go. Like you have a new gratitude practice that you didn't have before.
That's brilliant. And Arianna, I believe that you weren't always such a perfect advocate of a stress-free lifestyle, and that in 2007, you had a terrible moment which led you down a different direction. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience with burnout?
Okay, first of all, Anna, let me tell you, I'm hardly perfect now. In fact, part of our philosophy is that there is no such thing as perfection on this journey. And those of us who are perfectionists need to just give that up. We consider our journey what we call a judgment-free zone. And we consider all of us, certainly I consider myself, a work in progress. What happened to me on April 6, 2007 was an amazing wake-up call that changed the trajectory of my life, because I literally collapsed from exhaustion, burnout, sleep deprivation, hit my head on my desk, broke my cheekbone. And that was the beginning of my realizing that it's impossible to live a sustainable, healthy, and productive life without taking care of yourself. And that led in 2016, finally, for me to want to leave the Huffington Post and launch a company that could help people move from awareness to action, because obviously you can do everything about awareness through media, but what people also want is these micro steps to know how they can move from wanting, let's say, to get better sleep to getting better sleep. So that's the business we are in now, and that's what the book is about.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I think all the advice you have in your book and your app is so valuable, and I'm sure our listeners, if they incorporate just a small amount, will see great benefits. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Anna, thank you so much, and I hope you pick up a micro step to practice. And you know, you can do it with your kids too. We are going to be publishing some kids' books of micro steps.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Fantastic.
you can actually each pick a micro step, and you can keep each other accountable.
Oh, well, I think that will be so great, because actually I think the children as well as the women have been hidden victims of, not so hidden, victims of the pandemic, missing out on so much. So I think anything that will help their mental health will be really great too.
Absolutely. And it gives them something small to celebrate every day. Like, I did this today. It puts us in control, and it gives us something to celebrate, which we all need right now.
Oh, well, it was such a pleasure to speak to you both. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Anna. Thank you.
Bye.